Hi everyone, welcome back to the second episode of Walk the Push. We're going to briefly go through a few little things that we may have missed on episode 1. Then we're going to talk about our experiences from the spinal rehab in the PA.
So to recap, the boys had a workplace accident where Ethan was crushed by 2.5 ton of steel. Christian witnessed it and was struck in the leg with some of the steel that fell, resulting in a large hematoma. Ethan was flown straight to Townsville via RACQ rescue that night.
So from Townsville, after his treatment there and his bit of a say, he was flown down to Brisbane on the 14th of December through the Royal Flying Doctor Service, where he stayed for 4 months.
Yeah, about 4 months. On that day that he was flown down, I had to go back and pack up my hotel and drive back to Mackay, 4.5 hours away, where I organised a flight to Brisbane for 2 days later. So on December 16th, I got to Brisbane. Ryan was at work. Once I arrived at the Princess Alexandra Hospital, is when it really hit me. As you go through those doors into the hallways, they are lined on each side with every wheelchair you could think possible. Hoists, bed baths, electric wheelchairs, manual wheelchairs, just so much equipment. It's really eye-opening, I would say.
I think for sure.
So Ethan was not quite in the actual wards there for the first couple of weeks. He was in acute, where they first put you so they can assess all the needs that you need, give you the extra help that you need at that stage.
And during that stay in acute, I'll just say it was an experience. We had a young lad next to Ethan, which is wasn't very polite.
Give it to him though, he was a full quadriplegic at 18 after a car accident.
And he had a few other little issues, health.
Yeah, I think his mum said he had autism as well, so that didn't make it any easier on him.
I feel sorry for the lad for sure. I wouldn't wish this upon my worst enemy, but
He was a bit of
he was a he
bit
was
of an ass.
he was no, I wouldn't say an ass, but he was struggling. I hope to this day he's become better in mentally. But yeah, it was. Apart from that, the acute ward was good, as best as it could be anyway.
So while we're in the queue, when I first got there, the first thing Ethan says to me is, "Mum, like you lay here with no pants on." I'm like, "What do you mean?" Because in Townsville, you wore adult diapers until you had your bowel routine under control. Well, when you get to the PA, they don't believe in wearing any underwear or whatnot because of pressure sores, which they're very big on there. So he was like taken aback that he had to lay in the bed with no pants on,
Free ball,
free balling.
but their routine. Well, it's a bit of an eye opener when you first get there for the patient because of things like this, but it's their routine and it's their way of doing things, which I appreciate.
Over the next couple of days before Ryan and Christian arrived, Ethan and I were just getting to know the nurses. One of the first nurses I met, her name was Bree. She was lovely. We also met Blossom and Rob. They were one of the first two patients to come and chat to Ethan. As when Ethan first got there, he didn't have a charger or anything like that because he could only take a small bag on the Royal Flying Doctor plane.
It was under 5 kilo, wasn't it?
Yeah, under 5 kilos. So he didn't have really anything with him. She lent him chargers and whatever he needed just to get him started till I got there.
And out of this, it made a really good friendship.
It did. So we just spent the next few days exploring the hospital, getting to know his team, just, figuring things out until Ryan and Christian made it up on the 19th of December.
So during all this, I was, like Makisha said, I was at work. I finished my swing, came home, packed the car and pretty much drove straight to Brisbane.
Picked up Christian.
I picked up Christian, and we picked up this beautiful gift hamper / Christmas present from our neighbour Danielle. Absolutely lovely gesture what she done for us, because Christmas just wasn't Christmas this year. Well,
We
that
made
year.
the best of it. Like it was still Christmas, but she made it better for us by putting together like a Christmas picnic hamper with $100 gift card for Woolies, so we could at least have like a semi-normal Christmas day.
Yeah, Sammy is far from it. If anyone knows me, I love Christmas. I was brought up to enjoy, just enjoy the moment, have a feed and talk to the family, rah. But presents are a big thing for me. So that year, I think we literally only had a present each for everyone. Well,
Yeah,
just an immediate family. So it was really basic, and
but it's the thought that counts
yeah, it was
and spending time together. It was different.
very different. So anyway, came home from work, packed up the car. Christian and I drove down. Dale was unfortunately unable to come because he was working in retail at that time, and there's the blackout period. So having no Dale was also hard as well because we didn't have our lad. A long drive. We finally got to Brisbane. I remember getting there and I was grumpy with Makisha because there was all these roadworks. I was tired. I just had enough of driving. And my first experience around the PA and the roadworks, I was just getting really agitated and I just wanted to get to the room, unpack and have a bit of a sleep, then obviously go see Ethan. Well, yeah, my frustration was taken out on Makisha a little bit.
Just a tad. I'd only walked from the hotel to the PA, so I only knew like that one way, which we couldn't go in the car.
I would have made it adventurous.
Well, yeah, it
Would have
was a
got in
lot of
trouble.
one-way streets, but he was a bit upset that I didn't know how to get from the PA to the hotel in a car, even though I'd not been in a car.
Yeah, it was adventurous. So after we got to the hotel, unpacked, and I had a bit of a kip. I went and seen Ethan. Now this was my first time of seeing the spinal unit. Like Makisha said, it was an eye opener. Just seeing all these patients, all the equipment. We were kind of warned by Townsville that the spinal unit wasn't a very glamorous, bright looking place.
It's an older part of the hospital, which was part of the very first buildings that were built back in I think it was the 70s.
Yeah, I would have to look at that. But they were kind of right. It is in a dark, under the hospital sort of.
Just down the basement.
But it was an eye opener. My heart sank seeing all these patients and all the equipment.
I was actually quite surprised that there were quite a few young kids in there around Ethan's age.
Oh yeah, definitely. But anyway, so I went and saw my lad, and just the look on his face when I walked in the room, just
Priceless.
yeah, absolute priceless. Smile ear to ear, big hug. But then that sort of went out the window about 2 minutes later because me and Ethan always muck around and yeah, banter. Makisha's had enough of it.
They just take it so far. Don't know when to stop.
Yeah. So over the next couple of days while I was down there, I didn't want to be sitting around the hospital being stale bottle of piss. So obviously he had his routines. He had, his shower and bowel routine. He had physio routine.
Medication.
Yeah, medication routines. So in between all these different little appointments, I suppose you could say, we wanted to get out. So we took him down to South Bank.
They had Christmas markets on.
Yeah. So first time in a wheelchair accessible taxi. The driver was okay, I suppose. He just may have liked the speed humps a little bit too much, which was aggravating Ethan.
That's just something that he has to get used to. Well, he doesn't anymore now because he transfers into a car. But if he was to take, the wheelchair accessible taxis, I think that just comes with it because they bounce around a fair bit.
Yeah. Anyway, after a bit of a day out on South Bank, you could certainly see he was paying the consequences for it.
Exhausted,
Oh yeah, sore, exhausted, and grumpy.
just like his dad.
Oh, whatever. But yeah, it was good to get out and about. So I think that was the 20th.
Yeah, around the 20th. I don't remember what we did the next few days. I do know that, Christmas Eve is when we had our early Christmas because Ryan and Christian wanted to spend Christmas Day with Dale. So on Christmas Eve, Ryan went to the hospital and picked Ethan up, while I went across to Woolworths with our gift voucher from our neighbour and friend. I went and grabbed what I could for that money, got some salad stuff, I got some ham, just tried to make it as good as we could make it. I decorated the room up, got their presents out ready on the table, and Ryan went and picked Ethan up and come back, and we had a Christmas lunch in the hotel room, which it was nice. Like, it wasn't normal, but it was still nice.
Yeah, some sort of more melody to Christmas anyway. Ethan enjoyed coming back to the hotel as well, which was good.
But yeah, after that, like, it took a while, being Christmas Eve and it was raining. Once we were trying to get back to the hospital, it took a while to get the taxi
Oh yeah.
because they're very, very busy and there isn't many wheelchair taxis available.
But we made Christmas what we could.
That's it. And as we went back to the hospital, Ryan and Christian decided to drive back to Mackay that afternoon so that they could be home for Christmas Day and at least, see Dale and China and Brooke for the day.
Oh yeah, you can just imagine driving again. Not so bad this time because I wasn't at work all day. Yeah, that was our Christmas.
Over the next few days, we just were relaxing, doing routines because there was no physio, there was no like structure over Christmas because everyone's on holidays, which is fair enough. So we just did our own thing, went out a couple of times across to the shopping centre, had some lunches and out on the balcony, explored the hospital a bit more. We generally just go in pick a lift in the main hospital and just press a button and end up on any floor just to have a look and be nosy and to keep busy. There wasn't really much to do. The old man next to Ethan was actually quite sick, and we didn't realise at the time that he had COVID. So guess what? Ethan got COVID on New Year's Eve. So New Year's Day, he was taken up to infectious diseases, which is a whole nother experience. So it's in the main hospital, up on level 5, so up the very top. And he was in a room right at the end under the helipad. So every time a helicopter came in, the windows would vibrate. But that was an experience. He had a good view, at least. He could see me coming and going when I went.
Not as good as our view from the hotel. We were overlooking the Gabba, and behind that was Brisbane City CBD.
Yeah, that was a really good view, especially on New Year's Eve. I went up to the rooftop and I got to see the fireworks from South Bank. So that was really nice. I mean, I was by myself, but it was still really nice just to stand there and watch the fireworks across South Bank from the hotel.
So after a couple of days went on, I was leaving work and I came directly from work or straight down to Brisbane. Another big drive, plenty of Red Bulls. But I had a bit of a surprise for Ethan and, well, actually, Ethan, Christian, and Dale, because no one knew about it at the time. I had my mum come up from Adelaide. So we picked her up from the airport and, wow, gave my mum the biggest hug anyone could imagine. It was the first time I'd seen her since the whole accident, or the first time she's been to Queensland. So, I mean, we went down last year for Makisha's dad's birthday,
Yeah.
but this is the first time I've actually seen mum since the accident. And that was, yeah,
It was overwhelming and emotional, but
yeah,
really nice as well.
yeah. So we picked up mum from the airport, and I said to mum, just wait up a second when we got to the PA. I said, wait up a second. I'm going to walk, Keisha and I will walk in first, then you walk in after us. So Ethan's outside on the balcony and we've walked in. Hey, mate, how you going? Gave him a nice big hug. And mum followed shortly after. She walked around behind Ethan and tapped him on the shoulder. Wow. Ethan's face.
There were a lot of tears, some happy tears.
Oh, yeah. Ethan's face lit up like a freaking candle. Massive amounts of emotion. So that was good for him.
So Joe spent the next few days with us in Brisbane, where we also had a goal planning meeting that she attended with us.
Huh. Well, for anyone that doesn't know a goal plan meeting, the meeting consists of everyone that is dealing with Ethan: doctors, psychologists, social
Social
workers, NISQ.
work cover.
So you can just imagine this meeting. It was a monthly meeting, and
It's exactly what it is, a goal planning meeting.
yeah,
Just, making goals, and it keeps everybody accountable. Like if physio say we want to get Ethan taking 2 steps by the end of the month, then that keeps them accountable and they have to do their hardest to make that happen.
so you get the drift. Anyway, my mum, we're in this meeting, and she's sitting on the other side of the table, and I look up, and here she is, snoring away. She fell asleep during this bloody meeting. I'm like, Mum. She's like, oh. I was like, I'm just giving her evil eyes. It's like, really, Mum, don't fall asleep during this meeting. She's an old lady. Oh, I'm gonna say get a phone call over that.
Wow, she's not that old. She's what, in her late 50s, early 60s.
Well, anyway, we're gonna get so much trouble for that, and I'm not editing that piece out. Um, anyway, she's sitting there, like nothing had happened. Anyway, so during this meeting, I could not stop bloody looking at her to make sure she wasn't going back to sleep. And yeah, that was a good laugh. It was something that we'd always remember anyway, to say the least.
Definitely, which
Um,
it was also good having her there because then she got to learn bits and pieces about Ethan's injury and his treatment going forward as well.
yeah, so it was good for him as well. It was really good.
So when it comes to physio in the rehab centre, I think it was like 2 or 3 times a week they go down into a gym attached to the building where they've got all different like weights and equipment, bikes. There's a lot of stuff in there.
Oh, it was a fully equipped gym. It's for the staff. So,
I'm not talking about the gym, the rehab.
oh, the rehab gym. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
They've got half car in there, which is interesting.
yeah, that was donated from a wrecker. So with the car, it teaches them how to transfer from wheelchair to car. It's old Commodore. But the biggest piece of equipment in there for me was the parallel bars. Now, I've got a video on this, but
Like just for reference, our Facebook page that we made, Ethan Desborough's journey, if no one knows about it, there are lots and lots of pictures and videos documenting his journey on that page as well that you can watch.
yeah, and you'll see the moment that I'm about to speak about with the parallel bars. So Ethan was obviously in physio, and he had his AFOs and back slabs on, and they wanted him to walk the parallel bars. Now these bars are, I'd say, probably 10 meters long. I don't know. I'm just guessing, maybe 10 meters long. And this is heartbreaking because I'm probably going to tear up. Just seeing him walk down those parallel bars, it was heartbreaking.
But exciting at the same time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. At this moment, I went up to him. I just gave him the biggest hug. It was the first time I'd been able to hug my son standing up for
Quite a few months.
quite a few months. So it was yeah, it was heartbreaking, but it was just good to grab him and just give him that nice big hug. This is the second time we've had to do this podcast because in the first podcast we had a bit of a meltdown with the computer and it said no. And when I was talking about this on the first podcast, I was also tearing up. So this is the second time I'm tearing up over that. Just I miss hugging my son. Like it just Anyway,
I think for Ryan, this was the first time he'd seen him stand and walk as well.
yeah.
Whereas I had seen him a couple of times now, but the very first time we were actually in Adelaide. Not in Adelaide. Sorry, we were back home in Mackay with Dale and Christian and Joe. But luckily for us, Ethan's friend Blossom went along to his physio session because it's a free for all gym. Anyone can go in there. And she filmed the very first time he stood up and his very first steps for us and sent it to us. Now, that for me, I was so emotional seeing that because I wanted to be there for that first time. But having it on video, I mean, it wasn't the same, but it was awesome.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it was really heartbreaking to see him. Well, not heartbreaking, but sorry, it was a proud moment. Yeah, I'd say proud moment seeing him walk down those parallel bars for sure.
If you're wondering what back slabs and AFOs are, the back slabs hold his legs out straight. They're a hard structure molded to his leg, and they strap them on because he can't lock his knees in anymore. And the AFOs is a ankle foot orthosis. So when he takes a step, it stops his foot from flopping down. They keep his foot in a proper position so that he can walk, and they go inside of his back slab and his shoes.
So for the next 4 months while he was there, this is pretty much his routine. Didn't really change. Pretty much Groundhog Day every day.
Yeah, medications,
Yeah.
vows, shower, physio every day for 4 months, except for the weekends. They got the weekends off.
I suppose I do want to retouch on something that was quite funny. So in the balcony area, they've got these adjustable heighted tables. So when my mother was there, we would go outside and sit outside. It was much nicer than sitting in a room. Anyway, because my mum's so short, she had to sit on a coat crate on top of a chair. And only then was her chin just reaching the top of the table, which was quite funny to see. It was moments like this which made normality and bring a bit of laughter, and we needed laughter. Obviously, this whole journey's been a roller coaster, and it just seems like that roller coaster doesn't want to stop and to let us off, which I don't think it's going to stop for a while.
No, I think this is it. This is life.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say it's life, but it's just we need to get used to everything. We need to find a bit of closure with investigations and that sort of thing. But
Work safe,
yeah,
lawyers.
I um
Well, I do want to have to say though, not sponsored or anything, but Starbucks. Thank God for Starbucks in the main hospital. I couldn't have made it through those 4 months without my daily or multiple
Yeah.
coffees a day at Starbucks.
When I was at home, because bank accounts are linked, so Makisha sees when I buy something and I see when Makisha buys something, it'd be like, it got to the point where I was like, no, I'm not even looking at that notification because I knew what it would be.
That'd
It's
be a
Starbucks.
a venti latte from Starbucks.
Yeah. So just want to touch on a few things too about this stay. We met some really, really nice people, patients and professionals. Big shout out to Dr. Harminder.
Yeah,
And not just him. I'm not. There's too many to suggest here.
but the main ones,
Yeah,
Dr. Haminda.
Brett, the psychologist, he was there for Ethan and us as well. And
Some of his nurses that he really got along with, like Kira, Bree. Oh, you know what? There's so many that he got along with because they were also young as well. They just knew how to connect with the younger patients. So they had like their little gang of nurses and patients, Blossom and Andy and Luke. And then obviously you had Kira and a couple of the other nurses that would all just get along. It was awesome. They had their own little shenanigans happening.
another highlight, I missed it, and so did Keish, but Ethan fell out of his chair. And because he was opposite the nursing station, he
Yeah,
was literally he was literally army crawled to the nursing station asking for help.
they just stood there and laughed at him. They're like, "What are you doing?"
But also another thing that sort of was kind of funny was Christian when he was down. He would walk into the rehab center and everyone would just stop and pause.
They'd be like, "Why are you walking?" Oh wait, it's not you.
So that caught everyone by surprise every time. Um, even though to us they look completely different, but to the untrained eye, they're like,
Well, they are twins.
yeah,
But
they are twins, but not fraternal. Um, Identical. Sorry. That was just that was a brief stay in
Brisbane
in spinal rehab. I'm sure on our next episode we'll recap on stuff that we
missed.
and think about. But
In closing, I would like to say though, touch a little bit on mental health, how that's affected our family, including like Christian and Ethan, us as well, and that it's okay to not be okay. And if you ever do see someone who looks down, just ask them, "Are you okay?"
yeah,
You asking could save their life.
and you don't have to be a psychologist or be a therapist. Just give them a bloody
A shoulder to cry on,
yeah,
an ear to listen to,
yeah.
just listen.
Because during this journey we've also met. I'll touch on this on the next episode, but we recently went down to Brisbane. It was myself, Dale, and Ethan. Anyway, long story short, we met this lovely lady called Connie.
She'd been following Ethan's journey.
Yeah, she's got a son called Dale, he's 18. He had a workplace accident in Townsville, but by us having this page has made her reach out, and she's talking to Makisha a lot, mother to mother talk. And it's really good for her really good for both of them, should I say, because they can relate to each other. And no offense to trained professionals, I appreciate your job, but sometimes it's just easier to speak to someone in your shoes, so to speak.
Yeah, he's going through like the exact same emotions that you're feeling, like the mum guilt, what if I hadn't sent him to work that day? What if I'd let him stay home? All the what ifs that go through your mind. It's nice to know that she's feeling that too.
Yeah, yeah. So on that note, just remember, be kind, be nice, and ask the question. If you see someone down, are you okay? I'm a strong advocate for that.
If anyone's got any questions about Ethan's injury, anything to do with spinal, just pop them in the comments and we can do our best to research them and answer questions in the next episode or two.
But we are not professionals, but we will try our hardest to find the questions, as Makisha said.
We have books that we were given that we can refer to. So, yeah, if you've got any questions, let us know. Drop it in the comments and we'll try our best to answer them.
Yeah, and if anyone's got any suggestions or ideas or constructive criticism about these podcasts, we would love to hear it. We kind of get annoyed in a way because I know people's lives are busy and blah blah blah, but instead of just hitting that like button, write us a comment, give us something, just even if it was say great job or whatever.
Let us know that we're actually doing it right or
Yeah.
something like that.
So any criticism, any positive thoughts, whatever, just
Muchly appreciated.
Yeah.
Even if it's a negative, let us know.
Yep. Anyway, for now, we'll end this episode and we'll talk to you on the next one.
See ya. Be safe.